Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Due to delays, we have a major watering day today, so I won't be filming much. I need to crack on. But we have a gap up here. My air cleaner decided to pack up. I came in this morning and I could hear what was basically an arcing sound, you know, electricity going somewhere where it shouldn't do. So I turned it off and took it out. I've had a look inside and it's difficult to explain without showing it, and it's in the middle of the unit so I can't show it, but I may try. There are 4 little filament wires that run down either side of those, well, the shape of the unit that produces the ions, and one of those is detached. Now if it's broken, it's probably not fixable. If it's just come undone, then hopefully I can take it apart and put it back together again. But I went to have a look on eBay to see if I could get another one, and my eBay history only goes back to 2016, and that unit's not on there. So I've had that unit quite a long time, and you have to bear in mind they're designed to work in the home, not in a highly humid atmosphere like this. So obviously there are component parts in there that due to the humidity could actually rust. You know, they're not designed to work in a high humid environment. That's just not how they're designed. So I have to suffer that consequence. You know, it's just how it is. But I've ordered a new one anyway, simply because I know I've had that one a very long time and the chances are that wire's actually broken and I can't fix it. So I'll have a nice shiny new one of those when it eventually arrives. Another piece of kit, another piece of expense, another piece of maintenance. That's just how it goes. Things do not last forever, especially electrical units in a very high humid environment. You know, they're not designed to work in places like that unless you buy specific units designed for greenhouses, in which case they should take it. Anyway, this is endearingly called doing a Rick, or it is in my book anyway. Rick in the main chucks all his plants into soak, and he just leaves the whole plant dunked in the whatever he's using, either his rainwater or his water with feed or whatever with his CalMag. He just leaves them to soak. And my mounted Phalaenopsis are in the house, and that's an incredibly dry environment, and they're not, I believe, hydrating anywhere near enough. So I thought, well, we'll give the whole flipping plant a soak and let it absorb everything. Now that's in the Vanda bucket, which means they're getting the feed level that's for the Vandas, which is higher than most other things get, but this time of year it's still not that high. And Phalaenopsis can take quite high feed levels, so it's not going to do them any harm, and I'm hoping it'll do them some good. The problem being, obviously, that water is very cold in the mornings when I start. And I've had to do the hot water treatment in the 2 bottles, leave the bottles in there to soak and warm the water up before I would dream of actually dunking a whole plant in there. It's a bit different with the Vandas, that's just the roots. And cold water on the roots doesn't do them a lot of good, but at least it's not on the plant, whereas at the moment the whole plant's in there. And obviously if that water was very cold, that's a chill. So that's not a good idea. So I warmed the water up so that they can take it. And yeah, I mean, until they come back out here and get their humidity in the air back again, that's probably what I'm going to have to do for the next few months. They're just not getting hydrated enough. If you look at this spike, all the buds are blasted up here. And there's only one good reason for that. It's dry air. It's just dry air. It's not good enough for them. You know, it's also a change of air from when they came from out here and went in the house. So I may still get 1 or 2 blooms on the end of that. That's the Phalaenopsis green apples. It has very nice blooms, but I may have lost that spike altogether as a consequence. So we may have to wait for another one. See how it goes. What else did I notice? Oh, the Cymbidium is opening quite well now. All the blooms are starting to crack. It's still not fully open enough to see it really in all its detail, but you know, it's coming. And the buds on the other spike are swelling up to a similar size, so they should be opening soon as well. Open almost all at once. It's a bit unusual. Not many orchids do that. Most of them open progressively up the stem. And although this is sort of doing that, you know, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blooms have done that overnight, all at the same time. So this was the first. Those 5 have followed on, and then the rest will follow on behind that, no doubt. They're not going to blast now. What else? Oh yeah, one of my Restrepias, this one hasn't bloomed for a long time. That's just opened up over the last few days. Single bloom on that one, but looking at its style, it is capable of producing more than 1 bloom per leaf. In fact, that bloom is the 2nd or 3rd from that leaf, so it is one of the multi-floral ones. And this one is weird. What this one's up to, I really don't know. The blooms on this one are quite a deep colour. The new one's a totally different colour. Now that might just be that these are older blooms and they've faded to that colour and I just haven't noticed, but I'll be watching that one as it opens to see if it does that. Or that, because that looks like 2 different blooms to me. I like this one because the stripes are made up of spots. They're not really stripes. You've got to get in close, which I can't do with this camera, as opposed to this one, which are true stripes, continuous lines. So yeah, that was that. If I find anything else, I'll pick it up. You know me, I just pick them up as I go round, but I do need to crack on a bit today. This polybulbum's got 2 blooms out now, and another one that's about to open, showing its colour nicely. There's a couple more. There's one round here that's going to open very soon, and there are some more buds coming, so I think probably about 5, maybe 6 in some form of succession, and I still don't know how long these are going to last. I know when that one opened, that was the first one, so when that one goes over I'll know, because it's a first time bloomer, how long they actually last. And yeah, you'll all be pleased to hear, not my Victoria Reginae. Those aren't buds, they're flipping kikis. It's at it again. Oh, I just cannot get that thing to bloom. There are plenty more nubbins showing, but at the moment the ones that have progressed are definitely going to be kikis. They're not blooms. It's not the way the bloom spikes would look. They're going to be kikis, 3 or 4 of them. So more plants, but no blooms at the moment. Nuisance. Anything else I find, I'll pick it up as I go round, but I do need to crack on today. I'm well behind. The reason I'm well behind is the garage phoned up and said, can you come and get your car? And we need to have a chat. So I went down first thing yesterday morning, and I was there a very long time. And to be blatantly honest, they still haven't fixed it. But what they've done is found a surefire way of actually starting it. There's so many parts of that car have been sent off. The ECU went off to an ECU doctor and was, you know, put on a lab bench and actually tested in full, and there's nothing wrong with it. So yeah, they're waiting for another. It's a loom, a set of wires, you know, all bundled up together with ends. And there's an awful lot of information suggesting that that loom can actually fail on the inside and you can't see what's wrong with it. It's right down the bottom of the car, and they say it is possible that you can get water spray up from the road into there and actually you know, get some shorting going on. So they're trying to find one of those so that they can at least eliminate that, but they still haven't really fixed it. It started 4 days on the trot, and yesterday when I went down to get the car, it didn't start. They showed me what they do to get it to start, and it started. And it's not logical. It just isn't logical. But anyway, they've let me have the car back, and it's under the conditions that if I can't start it, they will either come and start it for me, or they'll give me back the courtesy car, which I can have for as long as I need. So I'm always going to have wheels, that's the main thing. But it was so nice to have my own car back yesterday. I went for a really long drive all out round the forest and round some of the open heaths. There was a bit of sunshine around. It was a wonderful drive to have my own car back again, rather than that rattly old bone shaker thing they've lent me. So it's still not really fixed, but they've eliminated virtually everything they can so far, and that's where we are with that. But I still don't have a car that I have confidence in. And if ever you've been in that situation where you go out in the morning, you're never quite sure whether the flipping thing's going to start or not, it messes up your life, it really does. You know, your plans can be shot to pieces and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, I must crack on with the watering. I'll see what else I come across as I go round. The other thing I forgot to say about the car, obviously a lot of work's been done, quite a lot of parts have been exchanged, and the guy would not take any money. He said, nope, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't fixed it yet. So you take the car away for now. If you still keep having problems with it and it's no good, we'll swap the cars back over. But I'm not going to charge you anything until I've fixed it. So despite putting a new battery in it and several other things, a coil was replaced, new set of plugs, there's been quite a lot of work done on that car, but he won't take any money. Because he said, as far as he's concerned, you brought it in because it was having trouble starting, and I haven't fixed it yet. I'll go back to that guy. I haven't come across that sort of customer service, I suppose I'll have to call it, for as long as I can remember. It's all greed and profit nowadays. So I've found a guy that can work on my car forevermore, as far as I'm concerned. It's just his mindset. It's just the fact that he's not prepared to take any money, despite the fact that he's spent quite a lot. He's not taking any off of me until he's fixed the problem I took it in with. I don't think it gets much better than that. Now this Twinkle, if I didn't know any better, I'd say it had some flipping Papio Pedalum in it. Talk about slow! But finally, the blooms are breaking. Just starting now. So give that a week. That's probably going to be in full bloom. Because unlike the previous Twinkles, all the spikes are at the same stage. Possibly bar two. Maybe this one and this one are a little behind. We'll have to wait and see. But certainly this one, and this one are all at the same stage. The buds are the same size and everything, so they're all going to open pretty close together. And once they start, they sort of get going. It's just getting them to that stage. Talk about a length of time. But it's definitely confirming that it is the yellow Twinkle. I'm pretty confident now. I've still got just this air of doubt in my mind that it is that miniature Dancing Ladies, because it looked incredibly similar, but to all intents and purposes those are Twinkle spikes, not Oncidium Dancing Lady type spikes. But once we get the blooms fully open, we'll be able to tell once and for all, and then the absence of a tag can be dealt with. It's taken a long, I reckon it's nearly a year without a tag to try and find out what the hell that plant is. But patience. I think I was at the back of the queue when that was dished out. I'm not a patient person. But anyway, coming soon. That should be in all its glory, probably within a week, something like that. Coming soon. I don't film my Deesers very often because they're, well, I thought they were just sitting there doing nothing, staying alive, which is good, having split them all up and repotted them. Very brave of me. But yeah, I've got a small community pot. So these are the smallest ones. They're just all put in together to sort of grow on and hopefully get up to blooming size for next year. So that's the little ones. They seem to be doing okay. This was the next size up. So there's actually 5 plants in there. They may or may not bloom this year. These were the 3 largest. There were 4 in there, but one of them didn't make it. But what I have just noticed is I've got new growth starting around the base on some of these larger ones, which shows there's activity going on. And I've just been brave. I've just actually put some feed in their trays. These haven't had any food literally since I repotted them back in the late autumn. I think it was end of October, beginning of November. Now, okay, they're not growing a lot this time of year, but they are starting to show signs of moving. And I think I will have to keep my eye on them now, because if they start moving slowly but surely, there's activity going on in the pot, you know, which means they perhaps could do with a little bit of feed now and again. I say I was brave. The TDS reading on the water they've just had was 80. That is a very, very, very low level of feed. And bearing in mind the pots were still moist anyway, you know, because these mustn't dry out basically. Obviously that's slightly diluted once it gets up in round the roots anyway. But you get salts around the roots on these and they just keel over. They're very, very sensitive. But they seem to be growing. So hopefully we will see some decent blooms later in the year. The blooms on these lasted, it was in bloom when I got it at Malvern, so that was the middle of June. And I think those spikes were still in bloom 2.5, maybe even 3 months later. They lasted an absolute age. So hopefully we can get some more this summer. But if that was their normal blooming time, I don't know how fast the spikes progress on these. I mean, this will be the first ones I've ever got to bloom, if they do. So, you know, I can start making some notes about them, about, you know, at what point the spikes start appearing and how long they take before the blooms open, all that sort of thing. But, yeah, there's 3 nice little potfuls there. I'm pleased that they've made it. As I said, one of the large ones failed. All of these have taken, and 2 of the smaller ones have failed. So they were jammed in. That doesn't matter. I'm just pleased if any of those make it. They were so small with such delicate little roots. But these seem to be doing pretty well, and hopefully we'll get some blooms. Well, this monster never comes out to play, mainly because it's ugly. I had a problem with this one. When it was repotted, its roots weren't too good. And it was very, very slow to put out some new ones. So although it had some new growths, they did this. And I've seen these, this is the equivalent of the concertina leaves on Oncidium types. And quite a few of the newer growths did this. And I've seen quite a few other people's plants with these. And somebody who grows a hell of a lot of cotyledons said, oh, if you've got Moriana, it really does need a good root system, or it can't hydrate itself. It's so big. Yeah, it's the hybridization process has made this plant bigger than its root system can support, basically. So it's always got to have a good root system, or it will do this. Well, the last growth it put up didn't do that, simply because it now has got a good root system. It's pushed out a lot of roots, and I've just noticed now it's got 3 new growths coming. And some cotyledons do spike from the base of the pseudobulbs. This one doesn't. It spikes from the top. So these are definitely new growths, all heading into the middle of the pot. And given the size of the flipping things, that's the rest of the pot gone. When those 3 mature, they'll push up against each other and fill that whole space up. And my goal is obviously not to let this dry out, and to keep good strong leaves on those growths, and then hopefully this time we'll get some blooms. It did actually push up a spike on one of the new growths, but it aborted, and probably just literally lack of hydration through lack of roots. Well, we've got a reasonable root system now, and we've got 3 new growths starting. Well, 3 I can see. There might be another one tucked away, but 3 I can see anyway. And obviously those will grow new roots to go with those new growths as well. So I think this plant's going to pick up and take off a bit this year. About flipping time too. But I mean, some of the older bulbs were quite desiccated. They've actually plumped up now that there's some roots underneath. So it doesn't look anywhere near as bad as it did once upon a time. Even the oldest bulb on it has plumped up. So it's getting better. And certainly this new growth is a good one, and it hasn't got the concertina leaves either. So coming on, I'll be over the moon if I can get this to bloom. The blooms are stunning. We shall see. Okay, that'll do for today. I've run out of water with feeding and I can't be bothered to mix up any more, and it's a good point to break off. I haven't got too much to do tomorrow. I've got that set of shelves we're looking at now, and the holy clay pots, and a few mounts that didn't get done today. They can wait another day this time of year. They'll be fine. So I've got a bit more to do tomorrow, and I may find some more things to film tomorrow, but if not, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.